Alright, so doing rear brakes on a Ford Focus, and I'm already into this a half hour with getting lug nuts off, right? So it's like just got this one off, last one. Where's the top of it? See, the top of it's right here, and it just disintegrates. It jacks it out, and you can't get a socket on there. So you got to jam or hammer one on. That's what I end up doing. Like, just go to town with it, hammer it on there, and hope for the best. All jacked up with rust, and fortunately that was the last one. What are the odds of that centerpiece coming off of there with all that rust? Not good, right? I don't know what size it is, probably a millimeter, but I'm using an inch and 3/16. Don't know what the millimeter would be. Alright, so it was rusted on there. I don't know if you can see that rust. I didn't have my glasses on, but it did come off, obviously. Alright, so you can get these brake kits for on Amazon for a couple $100. It comes with everything that you see here, except for the wheel cylinder here. So, first of all, I want to see if it's a little bit seized up. Nope, there it goes. So it's moving. I see the wheel seal is moving. Nothing's easy. So I did inspect it a little more. The back side of this was wet, right? So I think there was a fluid. I don't think the seal is wheel cylinder is good. I picked it apart and I saw some fluid. Anyways, it was a little wet. I don't know if you can make that out. It's a little wet down there. And I thought, let me do the wheel cylinder. So reaching back there with an 8mm is what those things start out as, but they were all rusted. There's no way you're going to get it off. So I ended up taking the 13mm bolts on the back side of this with just 13 on a swivel, and you can go either side of the shock, from the other side, obviously. They broke loose pretty good. And then I thought, well, if I can't get this wheel cylinder out, we're going to have to buy this piece. And then you're looking at, can we disconnect this emergency brake cable? That's just a boot there that came off. That's just a boot that came off. Put that back on. But then I was like, So anyways, long story short, I took and drilled a tiny hole in this is supposed to be an 8mm nut, or bolt rather. So I pilot holed a small drill bit in the center. Then I stepped it up to whatever this fella is here, and that did the trick. As soon as we got through, you don't have to go through the hole. I don't know if you can see it in there. I didn't take the brake line off because I don't want this stuff to leak. But anyways, you drilled through. As long as you're semi-center, it'll eat that nut up pretty good. So we could save this. I'll have to clean this up best I can. Now I got to get a brake line because this starts off as a 13. It's now a 12, and it's just it's not turning. It's seized to the wheel cylinder, right? It's not going to turn. It's just turning this brake line. This one did turn up there, so that's good news. So we'll get this brake line and a wheel cylinder for this side. The other side I got off, and it's dry. It's looking dry. I don't see any evidence of, and I was moving them back and forth a little bit. Everything's seized on here, so I did get it to move a little bit. Once we take everything off, we'll see that it's this is just dust. And I did peek in here. You'll have to trust me that it's dry in there. That one's not leaking, fortunately, because that took about 2 hours to get monkeying with this thing, and now we're back on track in terms of, this is the fella that goes here. The bolts come from the other side, which pins it to this, right? This goes on first, and then this goes, you know, through it. I'll have to show you better when I get the tripod here. But so anyways, I gotta go price some of these parts and get a wheel cylinder and a brake line there. I don't know if this looks like a Ford part. We could just do our own thing. Oh, there is a part number in there. All right, so we're back on track. I didn't take any of the hardware off yet, the springs or nothing. I just wanted to get this wheel cylinder replaced. Now that that's back in place, on the back side of here, we have, which you cannot see, no light, the wheel cylinder, or the brake wheel cylinder there, the, right, your fitting, your bleeder valve goes forward in case, like I said, it goes like this. The brake line is on the rear. The bleeder valve, which that thing doesn't even have a bleeder valve anymore, it's just rusted off, goes here, right? It's the brake line, the original, and I just crimped it up to stop to try to stop the you know, thing from leaking out, but I ended up just using an old brake line with a 3/16 and just using a vise and crimping it. That'll keep the fluid from coming out, so when we're ready, we got our new line here. See, this is pre-made, and you know, you could probably get the Ford one, but we'll just have to, this is a little bit long, but the next size down is a little too short, so we only have to go a little bit of ways, but I'll bend it up in a certain, you know, certain way where it'll be out of the way and also not hitting a tire and yada yada yada. But we want to make sure that we have the right stuff. Ooh. All right. Those look a little weird. So these are color coded, right? These are green. This is the driver's side I'm working on. Yeah, okay. Oh. Don't cut your mercy brake. I just want to be careful with this wheel cylinder here. Things are jammed in there. That one. That one. Alright. Now, this thing's probably seized up. Yeah, it's seized up. I'm going to loosen all this up. But anyways, we got that off. Now this little doohickey here. Just hold that. Where's my other cutters? There we go. Just gonna slide that spring up so we can get that cable in the hole. Alright. And our little backer pins. That's actually better than I thought it was. This one's a little bit rusty. Alright, so now I'm going to wire brush, clean all this, all these contact points up, and we'll grease them up. So let me do that right now. Alright, so just clamp this in here. Just for reference, let's get that. Take this spring off. Don't cut this one. The kit doesn't come with this guy. Just a little spring on that post. And it bends out. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. Now this is oh, I thought it was seized up. No, we're good. Yeah, a little bit. We're good though. Yeah, it's a little crunchy, but see what's going on here. A little rust ring there. So I'm just gonna, a little bit of rust here. We'll just clean this this whole mechanism up. It's in the hole. Wrong way, Jose. There we go. Just for reference, how this goes in, just kind of set it in the middle where you can stick this. See this little bump out here? It's got a little groove. The spring goes down, right, and your shoe comes in. Won't fit this way, so you just kind of like, you see how it can start it there, and then when it's just holding on like this, can't go nowhere. So basically just shined up the rust. I could have waited to put the wheel cylinder on to get this a little better in here, but it's going to rust out in a couple days anyways. So I just all the contact points, just put a lot of grease on there and where they're going to be rubbing. Your cable, when this gets bent in there, it gets pushed in there, this cable rubs on that, so I'll glue that up too. Good enough. And let's put these brake shoes back on. Let's put this thing back together. So let me zoom in a little bit. So hopefully you can see that. It'll probably be in the way, but so we're going to start on the back side. We got this spring here, right? Then we have our e-brake fella, right? And we got our thing we cleaned up earlier. So these gears, or whatever you want to call them, spring and everything, goes forward. And then you have your e-brake mechanism here, right? That will fit in like this, right? And this is where the spring comes in. So we're going to go from the underneath, this little L bracket goes like this. Let me turn the light on here. It'll help. So we got that looking like that. Again, the gears are on the bottom. That's like that. We got a little e-brake fella. And so there's two grooves here. There's a top groove, which for our top spring, and then there's the bottom groove here. We want to fit that guy. So it's just this little bend here. It's not complicated. Just fit it in here where it just, see what we got here? We're just kind of, it just sneaks in there, right? I don't have a zoom, but what we're going to do is click this into the scissor mode here, right? And that's all it is. So on the other side, you probably can't see that, it's just poking down, right? It's just grabbing the back side of the shoe. Probably should have washed my hands, we'll clean that up later. So this is what we got right now. Now, from here, we want to, so our new wheel cylinder, I'm going to push this in a little bit. So we're going to have to, this is our, I got a jack on. So we just, so I'm going to grab this with the barrel here, a pair of pliers, and yeah, I got these dull cutters that did cut something before, and we're just going to slide that spring up, right? I need better light. One of these days I'm going to get better light. We're just going to slide the spring up and then kind of just hold it in place with the cutters. And then, as you can see, I don't know if you can see or not, a little more. This barrel will fit into that hole, right? And we'll just rotate it around so it goes into the groove. Like so. So that's what we got right now. And when you pull on your emergency brake, obviously it does its job here. Now, there's probably more than one way to do this, but what I do is I get this started over here, and we already lubed our stuff up. So I get this started on the bottom, get it positioned in the top where I think it's going to be, and I push it in this cylinder a little bit. I don't want to push too hard, but I push it in. You don't want to pop this side out. Push it into to where it doesn't go anymore. I got force on this, side. Then I take a pair of like clampers, and I just clamp this side here. Right? So now we could just work with stuff. You see this? You don't want this to pop out. It's not gonna, but just keep in mind you don't want to pop that out. Where's my? So now we can kind of finagle this and have more than you know. You need 3 hands on some of these. So we got this little clip here, right? Got your pin and clip. But I have a screwdriver. And now I always go to the inside in case the screwdriver slips. It's going to go to the, you know, to the inside here, and put a little force on it. I gotta get my hand strength better. Get that vertical, put a little force on it, and then from the back side, just spin it a little bit. It'll hold. And you can take a pair of, I had some pliers here, just pliers or whatever, and just spin it so it clicks. I had a pair of little duck pliers here, so it's in a groove. It's in a groove, right? So that's that. Now again, we lubed up our spring down here, and we've got this this fella just kind of free flowing, and our spring's hooked up. So we got that side, and again, make sure. I think the jets are done. So this is the shoe with the bigger shoe, little shoe in the back, big shoe in front. Who knew? So this is the one with the little hook, and we got that aligned kind of in the center there. So this just kind of plugs in. Oh, here comes some more jets. So you know, you just kind of come in at an angle. You see how it's hooked. And we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna oh, I just pulled that out. We're gonna have to get behind this little fella here, and we're gonna. I want to go back in with the brake, with the cylinder, because the spring's going to be too hard to stretch. So we'll have some little thin. This is the brake line I used to seal things up. So just stick it in between the gears, and then there. Just to release it. See how I went in a little bit. So now we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to pinch this guy over here. So I'm just kind of pushing it this way and clamping that, and this way we can have a free hand to monkey with our pin. Send the pin through. Of course I missed. Send her. I got it clamped there. We should be able to get that. Again, just put it vertical. You probably can't see any of this because I'm in a way, but I'll put it vertical and do our same thing. I point these clips down, so when we click it over like this one, the original guys are better, in my opinion, because they're just slots, right? You just squeeze this and stick it in a slot. If your pins are good, like this old one, that would work. This one's not too bad, but they're usually so thin and rusted I wouldn't use the original pins. So we're using the new ones. Again, I put it backwards, or upside down, or downwards rather. Where'd my screwdriver go? Because we have this thing clamped, we don't necessarily have to hold things. Again, I just put this screwdriver on the inside in case it slips. It's got nowhere to go. Let's do it this way. I gotta get a pair of glasses. I literally am going blind. A better twist. You want it vertical. I mean sideways. There we go. So that is that. Now I'm going to leave that on there. Well, let me just adjust it a little bit. So I want to make sure we're inner center and things are, you know, correct, moving and just in the center. So what I don't want to do is when we're putting this spring on the front, and actually we can see if this is closing a little more. So just taking a little screwdriver in between the two gears, just poke her in and give her a little squeeze. So we're kind of set there at the minimum. And from here, putting the springs on, let's see. Let's do that bottom spring. Where is it, the little gray guy? Little gray goose. So this hole here, you want your long end on, and this square hole down here is where this fella goes in. You see how we gotta scooch it over. So the older you get, the weaker you get. Used to be a time you could do stuff, and things change. So we'll put it, like I said, in this bottom hole here. Just a pair of vice grips, clamper, clamp it down. Just use the mustard, get around there. Now the top spring. This one's going to be the most difficult. Where to go? There we go. So we're going into the, you probably can't see that. So there's a circle hole, and then there's an oblong hole, like a slot. So this is where, you see how we have two different things here. This goes like so, right? But we have to get it into this slot. We'll get it in the slot, come around just like this, right? So the bottom of the spring is just above our slack adjuster. So it's kind of easy to do. That little hook, go into the slot, and spin it to where we're at here. Again, I don't know if you can see that, but there's right above, there's the slot right there. Now, but again, I don't want to pop this cylinder out. So I'm going to clamp this again, like, you know, see how it's free flowing? We'll clamp it in place so it won't move. And then, so I just thought of something. I made this spring tool for muffler clamps. It's got the little slot, just, you know, it just welded a piece of flat stock to a piece of round stock, so I can get in there and pull on little springs. This is for my snowmobile, but so I thought, well, that'll probably work, which it probably will. But then I have this tool, which is a spring tool for, like I said, for you grab onto, you know, the edge of a spring on a snowmobile muffler type deal or a motorcycle, and then you could stretch it out. But because this is a little curved, the other ones are here. Let me. Well, I don't have any springs left, but so you would just grab this and stretch it out as far as you need, right? And then poke it in a hole. But this is a little too thick, so what we're going to do is, because it's springy over there, we'll just go on the back side of the spring. And again, we want to be in this top hole, and so we just, that's kind of it. I don't think it's clocked in there yet. Where's that little screwdriver? I didn't hear it snap. There it goes. So that's that. So that's easy to do if you got the proper tool. If you don't have the proper tool, I don't know, a pair of pliers, can you get in there? Not really. And then you'd have to have a lot of mustard. But again, just be careful. You don't want to, you know, send everything sideways and this thing pops out of its hole. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if, is that a camera? I don't know if I showed that. Probably not. The, yeah, no, I guess not. The brake line was a little long, but basically I just want to have it, you know, this trailing arm can go up and down, and obviously the brake line goes with it, but you just want to be clear of your tire, and this is the copper stuff. We can bend it, but I don't want to be close to the shock. So, and the other side, I think I pointed it out, we didn't do that side yet, so I can, it's kind of like close, but you know, see how it's bent. And just same thing, it rides up and down. This is a steel line, but rides up and down with your suspension. So that being said, you just need to be clear of the tire, and the shock, and we'll be good. And again, the reason I use the copper line, or whatever that stuff's called, nickel or copper, whatever it is, it's bendable, really easy, pliable, as opposed to steel, which you can kind of kink. So we're good there. So next move is I'm probably going to crack this. I don't know if we can see it back there. Crack the bleeder valve just to get some fluid going. It might already be in there, but just to get it going, gravity bleed it, and then we can put this rotor and hub back on. But that's kind of it. That's kind of we're kind of done here in terms of the hard part. So if you can get this on Amazon, these are dirt cheap. I don't know how you look it up. Snowmobile spring clamp, muffler spring clamp for motorcycles or snowmobile, or where is it? You can make your own. This is the OG, and I had a slot here for one way, and of course the other way. But this worked great for. Still works great, and it's got a little leverage to it. But I saw these online, and I liked that it had a little curve, because sometimes you got to get in somewhere, and then when you turn it, it spins the spring and then snaps in. So that's a pretty cool tool. So the rest of this, just wrapping it up, putting hubs on, or the drums, is a no-brainer. Just putting them on, and I think there's a little bit of a drag there, but how I think the torque was 170 on the axle nut. But once we set this down, and we'll go ahead and go forward and backwards a few times, and that automatic adjuster should adjust it to where it needs to be. But that's all I got. I just wanted to show the rear end here. I got to get to the front and see what's doing up there, but this was pretty simple to do. In terms of if it just was a matter of changing the shoes, you could see the springs and the hardware, everything was pretty easy. We had that little hiccup there with the wheel cylinder. We had to take the the back plate off and all that. But that being said, it's still a pretty easy job. But anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching.